Hello, and welcome to our Quarterfinals 2 episode of AGT Time. Cody Patterson here along with...
Along with Jay Bach. We're ready for more live episodes. I hope you guys are too.
Yeah, we're in it's still season 14, Jake, and we're now at Quarterfinals 2, second live show.
Right. We're going to have our recap the 14th and 15th episodes, and I will apologize in advance. I did not watch the results show, so you're going to have to carry a little bit of that weight and tell me how that all went down. But definitely watched the 14th episode that was the Quarterfinals 2, and I'm ready to jump into it, talk about what was good or bad or otherwise. I wonder if I am getting a little bit fatigued because I felt like I was critiquing very similar to how Simon was critiquing these acts. I was a little bit grumpy.
Yeah, Simon seemed like he was kind of in a mood this week, and I'm not sure what was going on.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Gabrielle and Julianne kept trying to out positive each other.
Well, they were just handing out the superlatives all over the place, weren't they?
Yeah, boy, they're very very friendly judges. I think that there were a few times that maybe they had some critiques, but a lot of times they were trying to twist it just as positive and as happy as they possibly could for the for the contestants.
Yeah, no matter how bad it got, and we will get to that because there is one act in particular I have got a lot to say about.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So let's get business out of the way real quick. So you can reach us on Twitter at AGT Time. I'm on there at Cody L. Patterson. Jay's on there at One Man Bander. You can reach us through our email, agtcast@gmail.com. And we're also on Facebook, AGTcast. So multiple ways you can reach us. We'd love for you to also leave us a 5-star review out on iTunes. Rate, review, comment, whatever you need to do. YouTube as well, right on YouTube. So go out and listen on there. Leave us a comment. We'd love to hear some feedback. We'd love to get your questions, comments. Love some interaction, right, Jay?
Man, it seems like with all the platforms where we're on, you wouldn't be able to swing a dead cat without hitting one of us. But we are not getting much reaction or interaction from our very loyal listeners out there.
Yes, our loyal listeners.
No, we really do appreciate you guys. It's a fun project for us. It's fun to see that people are listening to it. At least every little bit of feedback that you give us that keeps us going is worth it. So we'll take any kudos or thumbs up or critiques and try to give you guys the best show that we can here. So
absolutely, I'm a little fascinated by that you didn't watch the results. So when I give you the results, this is going to be the first time you've heard who's going to move on. So
right.
I'm a little bit fascinated to kind of hear your reactions to this.
Yeah, it'll be kind of fun to do it live. Maybe you guys can sort of think along with me how you thought it was going to go down. See if we're on the same wavelength or not.
Yep. So let's get right into it.
Okay. Well, the first act of the night was young Charlotte Summers, and her intro package. They remind us she's from where's she from? Britain.
I think so.
And a cute 13-ish year old gal. Man, my notes are a little sparse here. She's a singer. She is I don't know, kind of follows right into that teen singer thing that they do. She was a little bit bluesy on her first audition. Had a little bit of a growl to her. This time she sang, it was actually like one of the theme songs from a James Bond, right?
Right. Diamonds Are Forever.
Are you familiar with that song, or are you a Bond head at all?
I am. I enjoy the Bond movies. I have not seen all of them. I've seen a lot of ones. I think Diamonds Are Forever was one of the bigger ones. It was one of Sean Connery's later movies that he did. I think he actually came back for that one, if I remember.
Oh, really?
I think he did a couple of the Bonds, left. They brought in somebody else. Then he came back and did Bond again. And I may be totally off on if this is the movie for that. But this is when it was Diamonds Are Forever came out in 1971. Sean Connery The original song was sung by I'm probably getting this wrong, Shirley Bassey.
Okay.
I think that's how you pronounce her last name. And I'm not familiar with the original too much because I don't think I've seen this movie. So I'm not too familiar with this one. Charlotte herself kind of has a deeper voice. Did you notice that?
Yeah, she's definitely more of an alto.
Yeah.
And that gives her some of that soul, some of that depth to her voice. It makes her more interesting to listen to. I'd agree with that. What do you think of her actual performance then?
I thought it was all right. I noticed she kind of dressed for the performance as well.
Sure.
The songs from the early 70s. If you notice, she was wearing kind of a jumpsuit. Like a sparkly
sequin jumpsuit that seems very in line
yeah.
with Diamonds Are Forever. Yeah.
Yes, I was also kind of expecting maybe some Heather Locklear hair, something of that nature.
Something a little feathered out a little bit more.
That's right. So I thought she did kind of dress for it. I thought it was all right. We're not big on the singers. I thought she did kind of make it her own. The judges didn't think it was the right song choice. Simon thought it was a terrible song choice.
Right, 3 terribles.
I don't know if it was terrible, but I mean, it wasn't my thing. I thought it was all right.
Yeah, I think all right. Going to the judges' comments, how he said, "There's no denying that your talent is beyond your years, but not a great song choice." Julianne said, "I thought I was listening to Jessie J, but your personality didn't show." On the other hand, Simon said, "You have one of the best personalities, but this was a terrible, terrible, terrible song choice." Gabrielle said, "You stepped it up. You gave us a full dynamic voice." So, her quality of her voice, her personality, like it's all there, but there was something kind of missing here. And it's hard to say what exactly it was. It feels like song choice is a pretty easy thing to point to as saying maybe that's where the problem was.
Yeah, and I think we heard song choice a lot in this episode. We may have heard it a little bit in the previous episode. One comment that Simon made along with that was the song choice was not her fault. So it's almost like someone in production told her that she should sing this song.
Yeah, and I do kind of wonder how that works. You're only allowed the production that they give you. If you want backup dancers, if you want a live band, I suppose that it's up to the producers to provide that for you or not, right?
I would assume so. I mean, if you're singing and you say, "Hey, I want an orchestra compared to guitars and drums," then I'm assuming production would make that happen. If they said, "Hey, I want to sing this certain song," then I'm sure production would do what they can to make that happen, like we heard last week with Cody Lee.
Right. Yeah.
But I'm sure there are times also that the production says, I think you should sing this song, and here's what we're going to do to kind of get you set up for that.
Yeah. I think there's definitely something to be said for the production is going to give you what they can, or I truly believe that they're going to do their very best to give them what they want, what they need. But boy, feels like she just kind of went a little off the rails with this one. If I were going to give some advice, I'd say keep it fun, keep it lively. Don't get too serious. Don't get too mature. Use the bluesy, growly style that you have, but keep it light.
Yeah, don't make it too light. Don't make it too fun. We don't want Swinging by John Anderson.
No, maybe not. One of the podcasts that I listen to every once in a while, it's called The Weird Alphabet, and they are going through Weird Al's collection of songs alphabetically, one by one, and they got to his the Generic Blues song. And I feel like something like that maybe would be a great fit, where it's fun, it's silly, it's but it's still like serious musicianship. And Weird Al, if nothing else, he is spot on with his musicianship of his parodies. No matter what you think of him, I think you have to appreciate how well he does that. And doing a song that's a little bit more fun, a little bit more lively, something that'll make people smile and laugh and make you memorable, would be a step up to this.
Okay, that seems fair enough. So her time on stage was about average. Her act was 2.5 minutes. I mean, everything else was very normal. So nothing really. I mean, the whole thing was kind of just average and generic. Nothing really exceptional from her performance.
Yeah. Do they tend to put like average, generic acts in that very first spot?
I don't know. We got Greg Morton in the first spot last week.
That's true.
Is that right?
He had the first spot of the season. So
yes, he did. Yeah. So I'm not sure how they determine order.
Yeah, that's interesting. First last week was G-Force, followed by Greg Morton.
Oh, okay. So maybe it is. Maybe they're putting the younger type acts there at the beginning. I'm not sure.
An act that maybe you don't expect to go through, and then followed by a comedy act, right?
Yeah, a comedy, danger, variety. So.
Going to the variety act. Are we ready to move on to our second act of the night then?
Yes. Yeah, I'm ready to move on to Nick and Lindsay.
I have a feeling you're going to have things to say.
Yes. But this is not the one I'm going to have more things to say.
Oh, really?
There's one later on I've got more things to say.
Okay, so Nick and Lindsay, they in their intro package tell us there's going to be more fire, more knives, different music. This is the opera singing gentleman, the knife throwing, violin playing wife. Sometimes she'll even throw with her feet instead of with her hands. So
and she has to wipe down her feet.
And well, yes, that is part of making sure that you do it safely and correctly.
You got to be hygienic and everything, right?
So he is going to sing for us. They're doing Johnny Cash's Ring of Fire.
Yes. So not only is there more fire, they're singing about fire.
Right. He sings it like he should have started up an octave from where he was singing this entire thing. The whole thing felt out of his range and uncomfortable throughout.
Yes.
The entire thing.
No matter what they did, he just kept going and going. He sang the whole song.
Yes. Indeed. And so it starts with him with, I don't know, like a sheet of glass over his torso, and she drops a thing on it and it breaks, and then he stands against the wall and she throws knives at him, then he throws a knife at her, and then she blindfolds herself and she throws 2 more knives, and then she does a couple of flaming knives that she throws, all still blindfolded. Then he lays on a bed of nails and she plays a little bit of violin, and again, the whole time he's singing an octave too low. It was there were knives bouncing off the board. That was
the crazy part. Yes.
All sorts of mistakes throughout.
Yes.
And Simon, he bumped his ex midway through the performance. Howie gave his right at the very end. Man, what did you think of Nick and Lindsay tonight?
So this, I had written down, this seems silly. This didn't seem danger at all. There's not a whole lot of danger, and it seems silly. They were missing knives all over the place. It didn't feel dangerous. He's singing Ring of Fire when I don't think there really was any Ring of Fire. They did have fire, but I'm not sure they had rings of fire, which would kind of fit in if they had like a hula hoop on fire. But they made a comment at the end. Or I think it was Gabrielle or Julianne made a comment. Hey, I'm glad you wiped your feet before you threw the knife. We got to be safe. We got to be hygienic. But this just felt amateurish. It felt not well rehearsed. There was a couple of acts that night where they didn't feel like they rehearsed very well. It was not clean at all.
Yeah, it didn't feel clean. Simon said, trying to kill you with knives is what I wanted to do. Everything went wrong. This is the worst live performance in AGT history.
Yeah, it's a stretch. We're going to get a comment later from Howie that this was the best performance in AGT history. But
okay. I don't know that it was the worst in history,
right?
But it was. It wasn't great.
Yeah, we had a guy get shot in the neck by a flaming arrow. So
nobody got sent to the hospital. Nobody's bones got broken. It just wasn't well done. Howie said, I think you went down in a ring of fire. Gabrielle, looking for something positive, just said, I loved when you cleaned your toes.
Yeah.
And then Julianne, again, trying to twist the positive here. She said it was so bad it became so good. It was comedy.
No.
And they latched onto that like a tick. And yeah, it was comedy. It was, you get it, right?
No,
and
it was terrible is what it was.
If that's what they were going for,
yeah.
they needed to give us a little bit more of a wink, right? They needed to tell the audience, like, you know, yeah, we're in on this too, guys. We get it.
Yeah.
And that wasn't there.
Yeah. I think there was a point when they were I think he was throwing the knives where he threw one, it bounced, and he had to reach into the bag to like pull out more knives because none of them had hit. And you're right. If they were going for comedy, they needed the wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Hey, you know, I did that on purpose, and
right.
I wanted it to look dangerous, but it actually wasn't. But no, it just looked sloppy. It looked terrible.
Yeah, sloppy. And you know, it's too bad. I really wanted to like them.
Yes.
I think they're a pretty likable duo, really. I think they do just good enough to be really memorable. But man, this was not their best. What advice would you give Nick and Lindsay?
I'd give them two things. Rehearse, for one thing.
Yeah.
And second, I would decide if you want to be a singing act or if you want to be a danger act.
Okay.
Don't be both. It's distracting. You know, he's singing Ring of Fire throughout the whole thing while she's throwing knives and hitting him in the chest with a fiery sledgehammer, and then stops to play the violin for 15 seconds. It's distracting. It's confusing. Pick one. If you, I would recommend the danger part of it. You seem like you're more of a danger act than a music act. I would drop the music part of this. It's not helpful to your act.
I think that he could play the part of the serious singer. Like, I think that he could actually be a serious singer in this act. I think they can do both, but each of them has to do one. I think that he needs to be a serious singer and be a serious singer the whole time through. And don't give us Johnny Cash. Don't give us pop music. Don't give us anything other than opera. And you need to wear a tuxedo and you need to be all in.
Yeah. And I guess to go along with that, decide if you want to be the assistant or if you want to be the knife thrower. Also going back and forth feels confusing.
Yeah. And then let her do the comedy danger. Let her handle her side of things.
Yeah.
And just let the tension of this very silly, strange danger comedy act, throwing knives with your feet, live in juxtaposition to the opera singing.
Yeah.
And don't just let that tension ride. And I'm totally cool with that tension. Like I can really appreciate what that could be and how that could translate to the stage. But with them both trying to do both, forget the violin, forget the laying on the bed of nails. Like, you each stay in your lane and let's let this, train wreck happen in a more controlled way.
Yes, and if you want to go with the singing, then she needs to get rid of the violin, and she be the knife thrower. She sledge the sledgehammer. She swing the sledgehammer, and then yes, he, go. I think the bed of nails are fine, but yes, stand on the board, sing the song, be the assistant, be the receiver of the danger, and not the giver of the danger.
Yeah. Yep.
So
I think. There's so much potential in what they have.
Yes.
This particular performance, like you said, was amateur. It was sloppy. I'm nervous that they're not going to get a favorable vote from America.
Okay.
All right.
Well, we'll get into that.
Okay. All right. Act 3 of the night was a gentleman named Chris Clafford. He's the singer from Iceland,
Sweden, something like that.
Sweden?
Yeah.
I don't remember. That's embarrassing.
Yeah, that is embarrassing.
So I wrote down some of his lyrics and I Googled them, and what came up was a song called "Cold at the Altar" by Chris Clafford.
Okay, I was wondering if this was an original.
I believe it is original. Swedish guy. Yep, that's what I have written down.
Yep.
He wore the tight pants. He's
Yes.
got a big bushy head of hair. So,
Yep.
What did you think of Chris Clafford's song? What did you think of his performance?
Well, first off, he kind of mentioned in his package that he grew up in a village that is made up of only his family members.
Just 15 people.
Yes, so his entire village is just his family. All I wrote down for his performance was original. So I didn't really get much into his song. I think I was a fan of his early on for some reason, and then when he went to Judge Cuts, and then when he came here, I think I've lost more and more interest of him. He seems. I like that he does originals. We talked last week that doing an original song, writing your own song is a talent in itself. It has to be a good song. I agree with you on that.
Mm-hmm.
I think that his original songs are good songs. I don't feel like they are bad songs, like what G-Force wrote, what they did for themselves. Their song was fun. Doesn't necessarily mean it was good, but it was fun. I think his songs are good. I didn't pay a whole lot of attention to the lyrics this time. I'm not sure. It's just he was standing up there, just him, just guitar singing. He can sing, and his accent comes through just a little bit, and I think that may add something to it.
Sure.
But yeah. I feel he's still kind of just generic.
Yeah. I think but my advice would be to go back to doing covers of songs. Something where we can anticipate where the song's going to go, where the tune's going to go, where the lyrics are going to go, but you can put your own twist on it, and you can make it feel like a Chris Clafford song. That's fine. But yeah, I didn't love the original music. So that would be my advice. I think this particular performance, he was mumbling, and he mumbled a lot, and I couldn't really understand what he was saying because of how much he mumbled, and it was hard to understand under lyrics because of the mumbles. And then he got to the choruses where he would then open up, and he was, I think, trying to play on that dichotomy of his mumbliness and his good diction on the choruses. But it was hard to even understand like what the song was about or the emotion he was trying to convey because I couldn't understand the lyrics.
Okay. Yeah. Do you think maybe he was having trouble with the lyrics? And he was just kind of mumbling just to get through it, or
no? I think that was a artistic choice.
Okay.
To enunciate the way that he did, but I couldn't understand it well enough to appreciate that artistic choice.
Okay, fair enough. Julianne, welcome back. Thought that they should put a band on the stage for him. I think he would benefit from having. Not a big band, but maybe, maybe like an extra guitar or just something else, one or two other instruments.
Yeah, do like a cajon or a hand drum of some kind. It doesn't have to be much.
Yeah,
but something to fill it out. A bass or an upright bass or something soft that plays along with you. I think that he could add a couple of instruments and really fill out his sound really well.
Yeah. I agree with you on that. Julianne thinks that he does fine by himself.
Yeah, her comment was, I was wondering if we should have a band with you.
Yeah,
but you don't need a band.
Yeah,
I think he could handle it.
I think he could handle a band too. I think that would, like you say, would fill it out some more.
Yeah. Gabrielle also had praise for him. She said the audience was in the palm of your hand.
Julianne had goosebumps.
Yeah. Simon said, you're a great guy, a great singer, but I didn't feel the emotional connection on that song.
Yeah, and maybe that's what I'm feeling as well, and that's why I didn't pay a whole lot of attention to it. I didn't feel a connection at all. I just felt like it was very generic.
Yeah. Again, generic is probably a pretty good word to use. Howie said he agreed with Simon. Maybe not the greatest song choice. So, yeah, I don't know. I've gave my 2 cents. Go back to doing covers.
Yeah, I think he could do fine either way. Add another instrument or two. let's fill this out.
Yeah, that might make him more memorable as well.
Yep. Then we have Marina. Was it Mazeppa?
Marina Mazeppa.
Yeah.
She's the ballet contortionist. Did you
Yes.
go back and see her Judge Cuts act?
I have not yet. I've watched Judge Cuts 3. So I came back from vacation this week, and there was just a ton of stuff to do at work.
Yeah,
so I've pretty much been staying late at work all week this week. But I was able to finally get through Judge Cuts 3. I have not gotten through Judge Cuts 4 yet. So
Okay.
we're getting there. I have not seen hers yet.
Okay. Well, I think that her Judge Cut audition was a very well done audition. She's the ballet / contortionist. And she is, as the episodes go on, moving further and further away from ballet and more into the contortionist part of her act.
Yes, that's what I saw mostly in this act.
So she opens like she's up on some sort of stylized scorpion-looking platform, and she's doing moves that are scorpion-esque with her leg flopping around behind her like a scorpion stinger. Works her way down. She brings out a couple men as background dancers. She's doing some nunchucks. What'd you think of this particular act of Marina's?
Yeah, so she said she wanted to push her body to the breaking point. I have down that she's got this like spider insect look to her.
Yeah.
Like she's kind of standing and crouching like she's some sort of insect or whatnot.
Yep.
Yeah, I had the male dancers. I thought it was a little creepy.
A little bit.
A little weird.
A little dark, yeah.
A little dark. I thought it was all right. I didn't think it was. I mean, the contortionism is a good talent. I mean, she's really good at it.
Yes.
But I just thought this particular thing was just weird and creepy. It got a buzz by Simon. I'm not sure I would have buzzed this. But it just, like you say, it's got away from the ballet, and I felt all she did was she was down on all fours pretty much for the whole performance.
Yeah, and I felt like there was a little bit too much smoke on the stage to show what she was doing very well. Gabrielle said, "You left me thirsty. The coolest, best avatar. It was creepy. It was amazing. It was sexy." Julianne said, "You're so weird, and I love weird." Simon said that he buzzed it because he was disappointed. Started off a bit crazy, but then it got boring, and he did not like the music. Howie, on the other hand, said one man's boredom is another man's dream. While he's happily married, he felt like he may have accidentally just cheated. So, she does move her body, and she does use her body on the stage, and she uses it well. I think that she is the right kinds of sexy. It's not too in your face or too graphic.
Yeah, you say that, and she literally got in their face at the very end.
She did, yeah, but it was the dark side of her, not the sexy part that was in her face. So, I absolutely agree with Simon. I did not like the music, even a little. Like, it just really wore on me. It sounded like a scratched record, and it was just, I did not care for it.
Yeah, I'd forgotten about the music, but you're right. It also sounded really weird. It didn't make a whole lot of sense. The whole act was just, it just didn't make sense the whole way everything was put together.
Yeah. And I'm missing that ballet aspect. That I don't know. The contortion feels maybe a little more freeform, whereas ballet is, I'm going to be moving this way. I'm going to be in this spot at this time, and it's much more precise.
Yeah, and it feels like she's pushing it a lot. Like she's trying too hard, and it's not as fluid as, say, like a Sophie Dossi.
Yeah, moving away from that precision of the ballet, I'd like to see a little bit more of that come back. Maybe some of her innocence restored. But she's. I think she's wonderful. I think she's beautiful. I think she's very, very good at what she does. yeah, the artistic choices that she made on this particular performance were not great. How long was she on the stage?
Her performance was 2 minutes and 16 seconds.
2:16. Okay.
Yeah.
The music made it feel like about 10 minutes. It was it was repetitive and blah. So I didn't care for that. So 2:16. All right.
Yeah. Okay, then we get Robert Finley, our blues blind singer.
Yeah.
It's what, his 60s? 60, 61?
Yep. And it went blind a few years ago. He's from Louisiana, old blind black guy who sings the blues. Well, I guess maybe not the blues so much, is it?
No, this was more R&B.
Yeah, definitely. And so he said he was going to do a song that was actually about his AGT journey.
Yes. And I think no, it wasn't him. It was one of the other ones later on. We'll get to that. I was thinking back that he's saying about his life experience already and his journey through AGT, but this is the first time he's done that. But he talked about his growing up and going to sing with his dad and kind of just his life, growing up and how music has impacted his life.
Yeah. Did you take down any of the lyrics of his song itself?
I did not. Unfortunately, I wish I'd had.
Yeah, I didn't either. Again, it was about, living life while you can, grabbing life by the horns, and go ahead and be, enjoy the ride, I think it was sort of the message. So, I appreciate the message. I really do. And I think it's something that we can all learn from. The judges were, 3 out of 4 pretty positive here. Gabrielle said, "You're a gift to us all. Thank you." Julianne said, "I'd like to be baptized in the Robert Finley Church."
It's a weird statement.
It's a little bit sacrilegious,
yeah.
But and then Simon said that was bloody fantastic. So those 3 were all in. Howie said, "I love you. Strategically, I don't know that song connects to people," and I've said it already on his previous performances. I don't think Robert Finley is a great songwriter. Howie's finally catching on.
Okay, so he needs to go with covers.
That's what I've been saying.
R&B and blues covers.
R&B and blues, yes. Rhythm and blues and blues.
Yeah, just BRB, right? Blues, rhythm, and blues.
Yes.
So I loved the rhythm and blues voice. I thought his voice was very smooth. It seemed very old school. I loved the sound of his voice in this episode.
Yeah. I think that his growliness serves him well. Yeah. He also had backup singers on the stage with him. I liked that.
One in particular?
Yes.
His daughter.
Daughter was on stage with him, which is, I think, wonderful and fantastic.
Absolutely,
so,
yes.
The exact opposite of what the Masadi brothers pulled with their dad coming up on stage.
Yes.
Or maybe it's the exact same thing. I'm not sure.
I did like that there were backup singers. Again, that filled out that sound a little bit more.
Yep.
Something that Chris Clafford could probably it could help him some.
Yeah, it makes Robert start to move from being a amateur act into a professional act.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Okay, now we get into the highlight of the night.
Oh, baby. I'm going to sit back and let you talk for a few minutes.
So the Sentimentalist. We're at the halfway point of the episode, Jay. So they send out the Sentimentalist, the wannabe clairvoyants, we find out that we didn't find out they were eliminated from judge cuts, and they get a letter, Jay, in the mail, okay, that they have been invited back to AGT for the live show.
Hooray!
So, Mysterio, I think that's his name.
Mysterion, yeah.
Mysterion, yeah. So he was reading the letter, and Steffi was kind of lip syncing the reading of the letter as well. They'd kind of predict this. They seen this. They knew it was going to happen.
I knew it.
I knew it. We were coming back, even though we've been eliminated. It doesn't matter because we're coming back.
A good thing we've been practicing.
That's. The intro ends and they're on stage. There's thing. Hey, we're back. It's nice to be back. And we find out that the 5 senses, touch, taste, sight, hearing, and whatever the 5th one is, are transferable.
Smell.
Thank you. Smell. Are transferable, which means your senses can be sent to somebody else. One
person can experience them, and the other person can also experience them through mind melding.
So, in essence, the senses can be sensed.
Yes.
Okay. Just want to make sure I had that right.
Okay. By someone else.
Yes. So, Steffi puts a blindfold on, and she said, actually, it's good to see everyone, and then she puts a blindfold on. And Mysterion goes down to the table and asks Julianne to draw a letter on his hand.
Correct.
And she draws an R. And we can clearly see an R being drawn on the screen. Yep. And it took Steffi a moment. I think she had to go to a second guess. But then she knew it right away. Boom, it's an R.
Yes.
Okay. Then she had Howie. Mysterion had Howie come up on the stage and go stand behind. I'm sorry, I can't even get through this, Jay. A table with a bunch of wonderful desserts on them.
Yep.
On there, like cakes and donuts and cupcakes and I don't know, lots of different types of sweets and desserts. Looked fantastic. Yep. Nice little buffet there.
It did. Yep. It's my kind of place to be. Yep.
Absolutely, yes. And so they had Howie choose a sweet treat, and Steffi was going to figure out which one he picked. Right. So picked one up, took a bite of it, and we find out it's a cannoli. Right. I'm glad that he took the cannoli and left the gun. Nice little, yeah. Sorry, I had to go with that. He took the cannoli. So she figured out that it was the cannoli. So she used one of her other senses to figure out what he had tasted.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
It's going to take you longer to explain this than it took her to guess all these things.
Oh, no, it does not. And we will get to that.
Okay. All right.
So then they go for their other trick where Mysterion has a little bowl, a little dish with some I guess little gum in it, maybe
some
little
flavored candies of some kind,
candies of some sort and wrappers, and has Gabrielle choose one.
Yep.
And they're not to say what they got; they're just to put it in their mouth, and then Steffi was going to figure out what it is that they're eating.
Right.
And so she puts it in her mouth, and she kind of just keeps her mouth closed. And Steffi goes, "Bubblegum! It's bubblegum." And Mysterion goes, "Yes, absolutely, it is bubblegum." No response from Gabrielle at all. She actually looked confused.
Right, we kind of needed Gabrielle's we needed her to say, "Yeah, it's bubblegum." How'd you know that?
Yes, we needed some sort of positive reaction from Gabrielle. Did not get it.
Right. I don't think Mysterion is really great at being a showman, but maybe he didn't. Maybe he didn't choose these powers. The powers chose him and Steffi, and it's not their fault that they're not great showmen. They just happen to have these talents.
I guess so. They are not the greatest showmen. So.
Oh, but the act goes on.
Yeah, it gets better, Jay. It absolutely gets better.
Does it? The act goes on.
Yeah. So. He then goes to Julianne and has her do the same thing. Takes a piece of candy, puts it in her mouth, and Julianne's just sitting there with her mouth closed, no reaction. And Steffi's trying to figure it out. She's like, I sense something. Is it something citrusy, right? I think it's something citrusy. But she couldn't quite get it. And I think Mysterion is just like, use your mind, just emphasizing all these words to her, and she just can't figure it out. So she takes her blindfold off.
Right.
Takes the blindfold off, looks directly at Julianne to try to figure out, like looks at her.
Right.
To try to figure out what it is. And she's like, is it still, it's citrusy. Is it lemon? I think it's, no, it's orange. It's orange. That's it. It's orange. And Mysterion goes, yep, it's orange. That's it. It's absolutely orange. And again, Julianne and Gabrielle just look at each other like, what just happened? What's going on?
Clearly, I mean, I don't want to ruin the surprise for anyone, but, he is somehow knowing what the flavor is. I'm guessing that there was one of each flavor in the bowl or whatever.
That's what they told us, that there's one of each flavor.
And he is then handed the wrapper that the candy was in.
Yes.
And there is some sort of marker or whatever, and then he transmits the message up to Steffi on the stage through, some sort of a Morse code device or some tapper or something in his pocket. Hard to say exactly what it is. It's not that hard to, send a signal from one person to another person, and to, maybe have code words or whatever it is that, maybe they are choosing these talents, and maybe they're not great showmen and they don't have these talents. Is that a possibility?
Maybe it's also a comedy act, and maybe that's the mystery. It's really a comedy act, and we just don't see it.
They pulled a Nick and Lindsay on us.
Two comedy acts that we didn't know were comedy acts in the same episode, Jay.
Oh man. Okay. But wait, there's more.
Yep, it gets better.
Simon, we're not going to have you taste a candy. We're going to have you we're going to have you write down a flavor, and he writes down Butterscotch Angel Delight.
Yep.
And she guesses that he wrote that down. Is that right?
Right. So Mysterion quickly abandons the candy and goes to this writing thing down, which is what they had Simon do in Judge Cuts.
Right.
Writing something down. So Simon wrote Butterscotch Angel Delight. She guessed Angel Delight. And
close enough. Let's go on.
Huh?
Close enough. Let's move on.
Yeah, close enough. So Mysterion's like covering up the butterscotch on the sheet of paper and like, yes, it is Angel Delight. And right. Simon's like, actually, I wrote down Butterscotch Angel Delight. Calls them out on it.
Calls them out.
Yes, which is what Gabrielle and Julianne should have both done.
Yeah, I'd be fine with that.
Yes, I mean...
but wait, there's more. We go back to Howie on the stage, still eating other pastries.
Oh, yeah, just chomping away at the pastries.
In the box happens to be yet another cannoli for him to take on the road with a napkin, and on the napkin is written the letter R, which was written on his hand earlier, and the words Angel Delight, and what else? Bubblegum and orange. So
yes. Which and Howie was just like, he was so busy with his pastries. They're like trying to get him to take this napkin out and read it. He didn't want any part of it. He had like 3 pastries in his hand.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, I don't know that he could hear what they were saying on the stage. But again, he didn't really help him out being on the stage.
Nobody threw them a bone. At all.
Was yes, they got no help, and we got 2 comments. Julianne said it didn't feel rehearsed. Simon said this was a total mess from start to finish. I could not stop yawning. It wasn't real yawning, but yeah. I wished that I was yawning because it would have been something to have happen.
This was like a massive car crash. I could not look away.
I
was tuned into this for the entire 9 minutes and 54 seconds.
No.
The entire thing, like the act itself was only 7:46. So I mean, the intro
only
almost 10 minutes. This couple got on TV.
Wow.
I could not turn away. I was tuned into this more than any act the rest of the night. It was so bad.
Oh my gosh. and how much of it was spent in silence while Steffi was thinking or
right.
Receiving signals.
Right.
It did not translate.
No, and I was wondering, why didn't we get 4 X's? Well, Howie was up on stage the entire time, so he couldn't have buzzed. I don't know why the judges did not buzz this. They buzzed other acts that were not nearly as bad as this.
Yeah, it was. This was bad. I do not expect them to go through. At this point in the episode, I'm thinking we only get to eliminate what, 4 or 5 of these acts?
Five, yeah. 7 go through.
There's going to be some not great acts that make it through.
Yeah. Yeah, it was not a strong night.
Not a strong night.
No.
Okay. All right, rounding the corner. I think things are going to improve a little bit here.
But Julianne said, I've been a fan of yours since the very beginning. Like you said, this didn't seem rehearsed. Simon's total mess. No reaction. No reaction from Howie or Gabrielle. They didn't let them talk at all.
We had to get to commercial.
Okay, so then we go right into Ryan Niemiller. No commercial break.
Right.
They took so long. Production had to be like, we don't even have time to do commercial.
Yeah, I don't know what. It seems like, at some point, production has to step in and say, like, your act's over, guys. We got to, like, we allotted this much time, and we've got commercials, and we promised these people that they'd get TV time, or else they're not going to pay us, you know?
Now, one thing that happened it didn't really happen, but like in the results show, they'll show, hey, here's what happened on the night before, and they'll show like some behind the scenes stuff or additional judge comments that we didn't hear. One thing that they did is someone from production came down and told the judges, we're 45 seconds over.
Okay.
So I'm sure, I don't know how they were only 45 seconds over. Where did they make up like the additional like 3 or 4 minutes?
Yeah, I don't know. Well, cut off judges' comments for them at least.
I guess they had to shorten judge comments for the rest of these acts, but
right.
Skipping commercial breaks is, I guess, a big part of it. But being over 45 seconds.
Yeah, man, that's long.
Yeah,
that's long.
Yeah,
and then they kind of started to like have the intro package before the commercial break instead of after. So maybe they're cutting some of Terry Crews' commentary out, or when we come back from break, we're going to be right into this next act, or that sort of thing. So they were certainly playing with the production. They made it happen. It didn't feel too it didn't feel amateur from production side, I guess.
No.
Still felt like a nice, clean episode.
Yeah, production did well by fixing this. But, the comment earlier by Simon that said this was the worst thing in AGT history. No, this was the worst thing in AGT history. This was a complete train wreck.
Yeah. You didn't say the worst thing. It was the worst live performance in AGT history, if I recall. So, this may have just topped it. Good news, Nick and Lindsay. You are no longer the worst in AGT history.
Yeah. So, real quick before we kind of move on to Ryan Niemiller, how does this impact the rest of their career? How does this impact their career? Does it impact their career?
Well, I'm trying to remember. Now, Nick and Lindsay, this is not their full-time job. They do this on the side, or, it's maybe something they dream of making a full-time job, but it's not their main source of income.
Okay.
The Sentimentalists, I don't know if this is their act. I don't know if they make a living doing this, or if it's just a dream to make a living of doing this. I have to believe that dream is dead. Or you can make a living on this. You can be part of a bigger show, but people aren't bringing in the Sentimentalists. They might be bringing in the circus act starring the Sentimentalists from AGT, or something like that, where they sort of ride that AGT frame a little bit. But this was long and boring, and not well performed at all.
But I could not turn away from it. I just couldn't. I took copious notes.
Okay.
Of the worst act of the night.
All right. Well, I've had enough. If you got more to say, go ahead and say it.
No, I'm ready to move on to one of the best acts of the night.
Okay.
Yes.
One of our favorites.
So we make a turn here.
Okay.
So we're on the back end now.
Yep. We've climbed a very high mountain, and now we get to coast down the hill.
Yep.
So
we get into Ryan Niemiller.
Ryan Niemiller, he's our comedian with the birth defect short arms. His intro package I thought was really interesting. He was a football player, and they show him as a lineman going up to the line, and he's got his little arms there. He sort of gets down in his crouch, but not in a 3 or 4 point position. But he seems like he was a starting lineman because he tried, and he was good enough to be on the team.
Yeah.
Also voted as homecoming king again. He, I guess his intro package, he talks more about it, but instead of letting people make fun of him, he chooses to embrace his difference and to hit before he gets hit, and does it very effectively, and people like him. He's funny. He's fun to be around. I would love to sit down with him and be around him. I think that it would be a wonderful time. He seems like a really fantastic guy off the stage, and on the stage he's very, very good. What'd you write down about Ryan Niemiller?
One question I did have is that since he did play football and he was a starting lineman, do you think he ever had a holding penalty?
I doubt it.
Okay. Would that be a great stat? A lineman that never got a holding penalty.
Absolutely. Zero holds.
Yep. I love the song it came out to. I don't know the song, but I think the words at the end where everyone puts their hands up.
Yep.
I thought that was kind of fun, and Simon even commented on it. So I thought that was nice. He comes out and asks, "What's up, Club Nub?" So I like that he actually did get a full set. The Sentimentalist went so long, no commercial break, but AGT still let him pretty much do a full AGT set. I mean, it's not a full set, but a full AGT set.
Absolutely.
He is one of the funniest guys on the show. He is fantastic. He owns his disability. He makes it part of his act. I think he is one of the favorites. I don't know if he can win, but he is one of the favorites. I think he's definitely a finalist. There are some other strong acts. I wish I'd wrote down some more of his jokes, but I'm not great at writing down the comedy jokes. I like to more just listen and laugh at them and then write them down. But I like him. He should go far. He should be maybe even a top 5 person as long as he can keep up with the comedy, with his level of comedy.
I think that his level of comedy is very approachable. He is terribly likable, and he makes us all comfortable with his disability. And that's, we're all different. We're all unique. And, part of being a social person is making other people comfortable with who you are. And, his difference happens to be very easy to spot. But, he's, again, terribly likable, and easy to root for. So again, I would agree with you. I see him as a finalist, top 10 easy.
Yeah, and we'll get more into the results later on, but he's got a bright future.
Yes, he does. Whether he wins or goes far or not, people will be inviting him to their comedy clubs. He'll be selling places out, no problem. Yeah,
if he comes to my area, just like Preacher Lawson did, I'll go see him.
Yeah, I'd be more likely to see Ryan Niemiller than I think any comedian that I remember in recent history. Anyhow, yeah.
Then we move into one of the other best acts of the night, The Unbeatable, and
I loved them.
Yes, yeah. These guys, once again, Terry goes right into the introduction of The Unbeatable. I think they even do their intro package, then they go to break and come back.
That feels right.
Their act.
And again, I don't know what they planned. Sometimes maybe they do that, or I feel like maybe I've seen that in the past.
They have done that in the past, yes.
Doing the intro package and coming back. And, there's a lot of setting up the stage and clearing things off. And, you never know what an act is going to need before they perform or after they perform, whatever. But, yeah, this was great. I love the Unbeatable Dance Crew.
Yeah, they can do anything. They're in sync. They can flip. They can dance. The height that they throw people is incredible. I mean, they're basically not just unbeatable, unstoppable.
Yeah. I don't know that I've seen a group go higher. I don't know that I've seen a group more in sync. I don't know that I've seen a group be as clean as they are. They're so fast, so far, so in sync. Don't change anything. One thing that I can say, I really like how the Massaudi brothers, they were able to expand what balancers can do by adding a third. And I feel like they've done what I've wanted dance crews to do for years. Finally. I've always wanted them to jump so far, so high, so fast, so in sync, and be so engaging the entire time.
Right, and typically we see these groups they're just dancing, but they're slinging each other in the air. They're climbing on props. I don't remember what it was this time, but they were up on some sort of box, jumping through hula hoops. I think at one point they threw a hula hoop in the air and a guy went through it.
Yeah.
So I don't think there's anything that this group can't do.
Yeah, or kind of they're doing some of the acrobatic trips. They're flying so high, so far. Like these are things like dog tricks. You throw a hoop and you expect a dog to jump through it, not a person. And they're getting people to do these things. It really is fantastic. Really is.
Yep.
Judges' comments. Howie said, by far the best performance I have ever witnessed.
Yeah.
Again, by far the best performance I have ever witnessed.
Yeah. And he said that, and I'm like, ugh. That's some strong words. I mean, there have been some fantastic acts over the years. I mean, this group is good. I mean, they are one of the best. They are one of the favorites for the season.
Yeah.
But to say it's by far the best performance, I think that's some strong language.
That's strong. He is not giving him wiggle room.
Yeah.
When you say words like that, but. It's hard to say that I've seen, at least as far as dance crews, I don't know that I've seen a better dance crew.
I will agree. There's not many out there. I mean, if any of the other dance groups that are this good, I'm not going to say they're distant, but I mean, this is one of the best dance groups we've ever seen. I'm not going to so far as saying the best because it's been a while since I've looked at all the dance groups, but yes, they are one of the best.
Yeah, absolutely. Gabrielle said, you've put the whole competition on notice. Julianne said, I didn't clap because you deserve more than clapping. Simon said, the creativity is unbeatable. You made every second of your 2 minutes count. And I thought that was really insightful. They didn't have, one highlight. I mentioned the Massaudi brothers. They had 3 sets and they moved kind of slowly between them. These guys, I couldn't tell you how many moves. Dozens.
Yeah. They're making moves all
in
the
their,
time. They have no
how long was it?
Their performance was 2:05. Right.
2:05, and again, every second counted. There was something happening every single second of their performance.
Yep, absolutely.
I loved it.
Yep.
I loved it.
Yep.
Can you give them any advice? Anything to do different, better? Anything that you would change?
It's hard to find something. They need. I think one thing, I'm a big fan of this. One thing they haven't done, I don't think yet, is fire. And I'm always a big fan of fire.
Okay.
Maybe they could take some lessons from Nick and Lindsay and introduce more fire. But no, they have found a way to step it up each week. And I struggle to figure out, well, what can they do more, or what more can they do?
Yeah,
I think that they're doing an excellent job at figuring that out themselves.
You know what? If this is their plateau, if this is the the most that they can do. You just do the same act next episode and next episode and next episode, and you're going to be just fine.
Yeah, I hope they didn't peak too early. I don't think it's one of those where you could do the same thing every week. You have 2 more rounds. So you have your semifinals and your finals.
Yeah.
So I guess you're right. If they just do the same thing 2 more times, they'd be fine. But it's hard to say that they've done the same. They do so much within their 2 minutes. It would be hard to find. It would be hard to say, oh, they've already done that, because they do things so quickly. They do so much so quickly. It would be hard to tell if they duplicated something.
Yeah. I think they do the same thing with a different background track, different costumes, and they're fine.
Yeah, and they've done that too. They've been different outfits every single episode.
Yep.
So.
All right. Maybe a little bit of a lull in our trip back down the mountain here. Joseph Allen, what'd you think of our singer Joseph Allen?
So Joseph Allen moved to L.A. because it's apparently the dreamers' capital of the world. So he dropped everything, moved to L.A. to start his dream of singing. I wasn't a big fan of his in his audition. He got the golden buzzer.
Right.
Yeah. But I think I've made a turn on Joseph Allen.
Okay.
I think his original songs are good. He's the one I was talking about earlier, where he's singing about his own life experiences.
Mm-hmm.
This time he kind of said, in the auditions he talked about, hey, tomorrow everybody's going to know my name.
Right.
He's whether it's YouTube videos or just, being on AGT, but everybody is going to know who he is now. And then on this one, he basically sang kind of an ode to his family, particularly his mother. Mm-hmm. And he said at the end, me going through is not guaranteed. I need to get this out now. I think he has a very smooth type voice. I wasn't big on the rapping and the singing initially, but listening to him now, I think he's very clean. He's very articulate. His voice is very smooth. His original songs are actually pretty good. Simon wasn't a big fan of it this time, but I think that he's got a bright future as well.
Yeah, he definitely has a bright future. Like you said, his vocals, he's buttery smooth.
Yes.
He's really easy to listen to. I don't know that I find him particularly engaging, but I absolutely not off-putting in any way. The lyrics of the song itself, the songwriting was fine, but not, for me, particularly engaging.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't spectacular, but I thought it was pretty good. I mean, I'm not big on the singers, but I'm kind of making a turn on him.
All right. Well, I'll agree and say, again, in no way off-putting.
Yeah.
Yeah, very easy to listen to. Howie said, "You're a shining light. You are authentic. You make us smile." And that authenticity is something that I feel like maybe a lot of these acts have been missing so far in this particular episode. I think people get to the live rounds and they want to reinvent themselves. And this one, he kept his authenticity. Gabrielle said, "I love a vulnerable man, and you put your heart on the stage." Julianne said, "Do not compare yourself to anybody. That is the death of artistry."
I actually thought that was a pretty good comment.
I like that, and I could see that on a bumper sticker.
Yeah,
like, don't compare yourself to other people.
Yeah.
That makes you think about what other people think, and not like an artist.
Just do your thing.
You do you.
Yeah.
But in that language, I thought was wonderful. Don't worry about being really good. Just be yourself. Again, bumper sticker worthy. Julianne, you nailed those comments.
Yeah.
Your comments are comment worthy.
One thing I would say about him, fix your wardrobe, bro. The outfit he was wearing, it was very distracting.
Okay.
I don't know if you noticed.
I didn't make note of it, at least.
It was kind of a black outfit, but there was kind of white splotches like all over the place.
Yeah. Okay.
And it made me think like it was originally a black outfit, but then got like bleach got on it.
Yeah.
It kind of looked like that. I think it was an on purpose design, but that's just the way it kind of felt. Was that it was all black at one point and then it got bleached.
Well, don't compare his outfit to anybody else's. That's the death of artistry.
Yeah, I'm not comparing his outfit to anybody else's.
Okay, fine.
So I would just say, change your outfit. That's the only thing. Other than that, I thought it was a pretty good performance.
All right. Well, that's for advice to give is change your outfit. That's a pretty pretty measly advice.
Yeah.
So. A fine song. Simon said the first song was beautiful. This one was not as good. Background was horrendous. I hope he can bring a song as good as the first one. Assuming he makes it back, I think he'll have another chance to bring another song and do well for us.
Okay.
So, Light Balance Kids. Now, if you remember, this is like Light Balance, but with kids.
Yes.
Okay.
Could you tell it was kids?
I don't care. Did they do anything new this time? They brought out some skeleton outfits this time.
Yeah. Okay. So here's my take on Light Balance Kids. Okay.
Okay.
The computer graphic technology looks way better than it did when Light Balance was on there. Okay.
Yes, keeps getting better.
So the computer technology is improved, right?
Okay.
So Light Balance OG probably uses the same computer technology that Light Balance Kids use.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So the only difference that I'm seeing between Light Balance OG and Light Balance Kids from Light Balance 2 years ago and Light Balance Kids today is the computer technology. Everything else looks exactly the same. The dance moves look the same. The outfits, I mean, the themes are kind of cool that they're going with. I did see them in Judge Cuts 3, and they kind of had this, I guess, skeleton outfits that they kind of did with. This one was more of robots. So I like the themes that they're going with. But if you were to put Light Balance, if you were to put the adults on the stage, I would not be able to tell the difference between the adults and the kids. I guess I could in the sense that you can tell that kids are dancing, but what I mean is the adults can do the exact same moves that the kids can do.
Right.
I don't feel that there's a difference, and I understand what he's doing. The guy that runs Light Balance, I understand what he's doing. He's trying to give kids a way to participate in dancing, try to teach them all this, the next generation of, whatever it may be. But I have a feeling that the kids could perform in adult Light Balance and it would be just the same.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Like any group club, you can commend them for, being a team and working together, and it's what they should be. And I would like to see a performance live so that I can experience it live.
Yeah.
What I experienced on my TV was more of the same. It's like Light Balance, but it's kids.
And we love Light Balance. At least I do.
One of us does.
Okay. I mean, I saw Illuminate I'm going to toot my horn for a second. I saw Illuminate in person. I saw them live. I love Light Balance. I love this style of dancing. I love because I think it's more for me about the technology and not the dancing itself. I think the technology is more of the talent than the dancing.
Yeah.
Because I think you could put any dancers in there, whether they're adults or kids, but the show is the technology. And I think the guy that runs it, he's actually the one that's the talent in the show, not the kids.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But he couldn't bring Light Balance back; they were already on.
Right, but he's basically still. I mean, if the kids are doing the computer graphics, that's fantastic, and they could be. We don't know.
It's possible.
It's very possible. I mean, kids these days, they're pretty good at this stuff. So it's not. out of the realm of possibility that the kids could be doing the computer graphics. It's doubtful, but it's very possible.
Yeah.
How's that for a,
I feel like we took a little walk around the block and ended right back where we were.
So anyway, to me, light balance is more about the technology and not the dancing. I loved the computer graphics in this. I thought they were fantastic.
Okay.
Not so much the dancing.
Judges' comments. Howie said, we'll come back. Gabrielle said, we were all blown away. Way to go. Julianne said it was a great song.
Billie Eilish.
Go above and beyond. Unbelievable. Yeah, Billie Eilish song. Simon said, you guys are talented, but it didn't have the wow factor. It felt tame. Howie said, I felt the exact opposite of Simon. And then he says it was wonderful in... What's their language in Ukraine?
I didn't even attempt to write it down.
Right, in Polish or whatever the language is. So, yeah, I'd say, more positive than negative. Even Simon, you guys are talented, but it felt tame, is not particularly damning comments. So, they're, man, I don't know. I think they probably translate better to a live show. They move further and further away from the charm of an amateur act and more into a demonstration of technology. I think that they actually start to lose me as they go that direction.
I will attest, yes, it is better in person. When the room is completely dark and all you see on the stage is just a bunch of lights. It is much better than watching it on TV. I think there was a couple of times where production went to a crane shot.
Yeah.
Instead of just staying right directly on the kids, they went to a crane shot, which I was confused by. So yes, if I would say, Jay, if Light Balance, Illuminate, any of these types of acts come to your area, you should go see them.
All right. Okay. Well, I'll keep my eyes open. Yeah. Again, I do believe that they probably translate better to the live audience. If this is the kind of thing that you'd like to see, vote them through so that they're the kind of act that's going to go on tour or get some residency and you'll be able to see them someday. But, yeah, boy, that's all I've got to say for them.
Yep. Just recap. To me, it's all about the technology. Don't really care much for the dancing.
Good enough. All right. Number 11. 2 more to go here. We got Tyler Butler Figueroa. He is our young Brian King Joseph, who we're reminded of last episode. Violin player. He plays his violin. He dances around stage a little bit. It looks very very hip, very cool while he's doing it. What'd you think of Tyler Butler Figueroa this time?
I just got to say, keep fighting. This another one that they did the intro and then went to commercial break and came back. But I'm not that impressed by him. I wrote down he's not Brian King Joseph, he's not Nothing But Strings, and he's not Lindsey Sterling.
Yeah, he's not as good as any of them.
No. I mean, he's fine. He is a talented violinist. I don't feel he's as entertaining as any of them.
No, and he'll grow into it.
Yes.
I think that he can get there. What'd you list? 4 different violin, 3 different groups, 3 different individuals. Yeah. 4th out of 4, easy.
Yeah, and those are just the 3 that I kind of found in my search results. I don't know how many other violin players we've seen on AGT over the years.
But for what it's worth, like when you Google, AGT violin, like you're going to get the results of the very best ones. But Lindsey Sterling, her dancing, her hip hop along with it, Nothing But Strings was so good. Brian King Joseph, he's technically better than any of them, I think. And Tyler, he's how old again? Just
12, 11, 12, something like that.
Let me pull it up here.
10, 11, 12, somewhere around there. He also doesn't feel like he has the personality either. He seems a little more closed up. He doesn't have that outward-facing personality, which I think we need from our entertainers. I want a little more. It was cool how he danced on the giant keyboard. I mean, how he got up on there. I was expecting some Heart and Soul, or some some chopsticks,
like from Big.
From Big. That's right. So I was expecting him to kind of break into that a little bit, and that never happened.
No, it wasn't playing where he was stepping, unfortunately.
No, I wish it had been. That would have kind of been a good little throwback.
But the production was pretty good. The song was pretty good. He's not the greatest. Simon tried to start a hashtag that
hashtag amazing, hashtag inspirational, hashtag current.
But it was like hashtag amazing current inspiration. It was like he said, "You're such a great talent." Great song. Howie said, "It's not only your talent, but you are inspirational." Gabrielle said, "You inspired kids to put down the controller and pick up an instrument." Julianne said, "What you do to give back is what makes a long-lasting artist."
Yeah. One other comment she made was, "Incredible artists are usually incredible human beings."
Yeah.
And I was like, what? Really?
Is that true?
I don't know if that's totally true. I mean, she said usually, so... I mean, it's not a definite thing, but
she leaves some
wiggle room there.
She leaves some wiggle room, yeah.
I think there are some incredible artists out there that are not good human beings.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Indeed, there are. But, going back to what she said earlier about, worrying about other people is the death of an artist. What'd she say? Do not compare yourself to anybody. That's the death of artistry. So, she's, as an artist herself, as a, I think she's got a sense of what makes a great artist. And that being yourself, trying something different, connecting dots that others haven't connected for, that is artistry. That is creativity. I don't know. I think there is some truth to what she said.
Okay, fair enough. Simon also said a big DJ should come and make the most incredible record together with him.
Yeah, you know what? So here's something that we haven't really commented on, other than to say that he's not the best. His violin, I think, is a step up from his original performance. I had complained that he just played the melody. He moved around while he played the melody, but his violin was really just him playing the melody of the song. And here he branched out a little bit. He was playing harmonies is the word that comes to mind, but it's he's interacting with the melody instead of just playing the melody. I guess is what I want to say.
Yeah. So it sounds like you took your advice.
Yes, thank you. Yeah. Finally, somebody has taken my advice. Somebody, out there.
He listened to the podcast, took your advice.
Thank you, Tyler Butler Figueroa.
Don't listen to this podcast, Tyler Butler Figueroa.
I would have cast you a couple votes had I been able to, Tyler Butler Figueroa, had I known that you had listened to my sage advice. All right. I think, I think he's cute. I think he's pretty good at what he does. Advice to give him, keep on this trajectory of improving and of, being engaging, keep giving back to the world. I feel like there are some issues with his stage presence, but he's got a bright future. The kid's going to be great. I don't know that he's quite there yet at 11.
Agreed. I'd also say, come out of your shell a little bit if you can. If you're not, then that's perfectly fine. I need a little more entertainment from you. And that's all. I think he will grow. His talent will improve. He has a bright future, but I want to see a little more entertainment. Yeah,
Tyler Butler Figueroa without his intro package and the surviving cancer and the giving back and the hospital visits, like that's just a kid playing the violin.
Yeah,
pretty good.
Yeah,
which is not nearly as wonderful as Tyler Butler Figueroa, the cancer survivor, put up with bullying. Now he's going to visit kids in the hospital. Like that's a totally different Tyler Butler Figueroa, and it totally changes the way that people look at him. kind of going back to, I never used to watch the intro packages, and I wanted to look at acts based on acts. For America's Got Feels, that definitely gives him some bonus points.
Yes. Now, same thing kind of with Brian King Joseph. He's got the degenerative nerve issue.
Right.
But I still think he's a fantastic violinist.
Absolutely. Yeah. And it hasn't caught up with him yet.
Yep.
Nope.
Okay, let's close this out with the Ndlovu Youth Choir.
Ndlovu Youth Choir.
It's a beautiful day, Jay.
It's a beautiful day. You know what? I loved this act.
Yes.
I really loved the song. I really loved their presence. I really loved their smiles and their dancing and their harmonies. Man, hard to say anything wrong with the Ndlovu Youth Choir. What did you think of their performance?
I thought it was fun. I thought it was a great song choice. I thought they put a nice little spin on it. They put kind of their own little African spin on it. The streamers at the end was a lot of fun. Simon got just blasted with streamers. Julianne kind of made the comment that a lot of these acts come out for show or fame, and they came back for self-expressive. I think it was self-expressiveness.
Yeah.
They want to present themselves. They will obviously get the fame when this is over, but I think they're just trying to show their talent, and they're just enjoying being here. And they've never been to America. I think it was Light Balance, but with kids. The kids even mentioned that they've never been on a plane before. I'm sure these kids have never been on a plane before. These are one time, well, not one time. This is the start of a really long journey for them, where they're getting all new experiences. So it's not just singing. They love the singing. They love the performing, but they're also getting some wonderful life experiences doing this.
Yeah. They embody the charm that being an amateur means. They embody the youthfulness and the smiles and just I'm enjoying the ride while I'm on it. And if this takes me somewhere, great. And if not, man, what a ride we had. And there's no pressure. There's no worry. They're just having a great time doing a thing they love to do. And like the essence of what I love about AGT, I feel like I'm getting out of Ndlovu Youth Choir. So,
yeah. And if they were to get eliminated, then they would just go back to Africa, and be thankful for the experience that they got to have.
Yeah. They're in a win-win situation.
Yeah.
This isn't the end of the road. They're just young people having a fun wild ride. So it's great.
Yep.
Howie said, "Wow" is the word that comes to mind. You are our window to the world. Gabrielle said, "I am so proud, and you set the stage on fire." Julianne said, "A lot of people come on for fame, but you come on to remind us to come back to the truth of who we are." Simon said, "You just popped tonight. Your enthusiasm. It was a great song choice. It all worked. It all clicked." So high praise from the judges. I totally expect to see them again.
Good. Okay. Well, we're all done with the 12 acts. You don't know who's moving on, so why don't we get into that and see what your responses are,
all
your
right.
reactions are to this.
I'm ready for it.
Okay. Well, I'm going to go through some of the other stuff that happens because I love the additional things that happen during the show. So we're going to get to the results, but there's kind of some other stuff that went on. Did you know that Howie's been doing this for 10 years?
I have been aware of that, yes.
Okay. Well, they did a little 10-year celebration for Howie on the result night. So a few things that they did is they, and you may want to go out and find this, but they unveiled a billboard.
Okay.
Thanking Howie for his 10 years. But it's basically a billboard with Simon's face on it and then like a sliver of Howie's face right next to it. So that's outside the Dolby Theater. You need to go find a picture of that because it's pretty funny.
Okay.
But they kind of do this 10-year thing throughout the episode. There's some other stuff they get into. So they They kind of do their, hey, here's what happened on the episode last night. I wrote a couple of things down for that. One of the things was our favorite episode of the night, The Sentimentalist.
Oh, boy, yeah.
We heard, Steffi mentioned that the flavor that Gabrielle was eating was bubblegum. We find out, nay, it was not bubblegum. It was actually cinnamon.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
So they were talking to each other, and Gabrielle's like, yeah, I don't know what they were doing. That was cinnamon.
Funny. Okay.
Yeah. So I enjoyed that way too much. So then we get the youth choir a little bit. We hear that before the youth choir, that's where they talked about, hey, we're 45 seconds over. We need to kind of figure out what to do here. Then we get into the Duncan save. No glitch this week, Jay. No voting glitch.
Oh, great.
Apparently everything went just fine in the voting. So our Duncan saves, you might want to make some note of this because we're going to come back to it. But our Duncan saves were Charlotte Summers.
Okay.
Chris Clafford.
Okay.
And the youth choir.
Oh, really?
Yes. So those are our 7, 8, and 9. Is that right?
All right.
6, 7, and 8.
Summers, Chris Clafford.
And the youth choir.
Umlaut over the A just to make it hard. I gotta get that typed in right, and then Undlovi youth choir.
Yeah,
okay.
Youth choir. Now, right when they announced that, within just a few seconds, they're already flashing up like percentages.
Yeah, it's funny what they do there.
Yeah, it's amazing how quickly people can get on and vote after they've just announced the Duncan save. Okay. So in the early voting,
with dozens of votes.
Yeah, your absentee votes and your early votes are already in there. We had Charlotte Summers at 23%, Chris Clafford at 50%, and then the youth choir at 27%.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So then we get more into our 10-year Howie stuff, and we find out, hey, what were our performers doing 10 years ago?
Okay.
Some of them weren't even born yet, so we'll just start there.
Sure.
I only wrote down a couple. Chris Clafford was working in a liquor store.
Oh, my.
Yeah. I don't know who he was selling liquor to because there's only 15 people in his town. Maybe he goes to another town, and I don't know.
It's a short commute.
Yeah, and we found out 10 years ago the Sentimentalists weren't doing what they're doing now.
You don't say.
So they haven't been together very long.
Okay.
So there were some others. I didn't write them all down. Those are kind of just a couple that I jotted down. We come back. We get some results.
All right.
You ready?
I'm ready to make my first guess at my first result.
Perfect. Okay, so we bring down Tyler Butler Figueroa and Joseph Allen.
Okay. One of them's going through.
One of them is going through.
Oh, man. The golden buzzer, Tyler Butler Figueroa, Joseph Allen, the buttery smooth vocals. Man, America loves a singer. Let's go with Joseph Allen.
Yeah, I actually thought that as well, and he got robbed, and Tyler Butler Figueroa went through.
Really?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, I actually wrote down that he got robbed.
Well, America got that one wrong.
Okay. Then we go right into some more results.
Keep them coming.
Yep, we had The Unbeatable.
Okay.
And The Sentimentalist.
Okay, so this is like a 1 versus 16 matchup.
That's exactly what I wrote. Well, I wrote 1 versus 12. Yes. Yeah, it's basically a 1 versus 16. Yeah.
The Unbeatable.
The Unbeatable. Yeah. I also wrote down shoe in before they even announced it. So.
Okay.
It was it was the top seed versus the bottom seed. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Then our last results for a while, we get Light Balance Kids.
Okay.
Robert Finley.
Okay.
And Nick and Lindsay.
Okay.
2 of them are going through.
2 go through. First, they're going to say Light Balance Kids, congratulations.
Yes, that is correct.
And then it's got to be Robert Finley over Nick and Lindsay.
Yes, that is correct as well.
Okay.
So, then we get a performance from Susan Boyle.
Okay.
So Susan Boyle and Bianca Ryan from Champions.
Wow.
Yeah, making comebacks.
Both of them.
Yes.
Did they sing together?
Oh, no. Sorry. Bianca Ryan was last week. Susan Boyle this week.
Oh, okay. Yep.
Yeah. Sorry, I can see where that could be confusing.
I got it. Yep.
No, that would have been fantastic.
I wasn't really listening to you with both my ears when you said that. I was just trying to react appropriately.
Got it.
And had I been listening, I would have said, no, Bianca Ryan was last week.
Yeah. Susan Boyle back. Apparently she's got some new fancy haircut that a lot of people made a big deal about. You can go find it if you're interested. You want to guess what she's saying?
I don't know. Phantom of the Opera?
Yeah. What's her song?
I Dream.
I Dream a Dream. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. She's saying that. I don't think she really killed it. I thought it was, on a scale of 1 to 10, it's probably a 7.5.
All right.
Yeah.
C's got degrees.
Yeah. I think it was maybe an off night for Susan Boyle. I'm not sure what's going on, but kind of pitchy dog a little bit.
Yeah, but how did her hair look?
I don't know. I don't really. Oh. Yeah. Don't really care.
I don't know. That's a fine answer.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah. The only person that I'm supposed to care about their hair is my wife.
Okay.
Yeah. Then we get more Howie stuff. They kind of do a little interview, question and answer type thing. We want to find out how punny is Howie.
Oh boy.
Yeah, how punny is he? So they play some puns. Or actually,
I love a good pun. Yeah.
They show some acts on screen, and they say, how, what did Howie say to this person? What kind of pun? Okay. So they bring Adeline Bates out.
Oh boy. Okay.
Yeah. And he said break a leg. Remember she was wearing the walking boot.
Yep.
Then don't remember this act at all. Some woman that did painting with her thighs. Do you remember this? Like there would be like a canvas on the stage, flat on the stage, and she would be like spread eagle and like bouncing and painting. I don't remember this at all.
This may have been part of a montage in one of the very early episodes.
Okay. I didn't even know if it was this season or not, but it could have been.
Okay.
But the pun that he used was beauty is in the thighs of the beholder.
Okay.
And then finally we had a twerker come out.
Yeah.
And he said, twerks for me.
Twerks for me?
Yep. Okay.
There you go.
Yep. So that's our kind of 10-year celebration of Howie. So congratulations, Howie.
Thank you, Howie.
We appreciate your service.
Many smiles to my face.
Yes. Then we get into our last set of results before we come back to the Duncan save. So we have Marina Mazepa and Ryan Niemiller.
Oh. Well, assuming that only one of these is going through, I'd have to believe that Ryan is going through.
You are correct. Ryan is going through. They go to the judges for some reactions. And Simon made a nice little faux pas.
Oh, no.
So he was congratulating him. Hey, you're a great job. He says, it's all in your hands now. And then he realized what he'd said.
Oh, yeah.
It's all in
the
your
unintentional
hands now.
puns are these.
Yeah. Then we come back to our Duncan save.
Okay.
And how do you want to do this? Because we got one going through, or two going through, but one's going to be America's vote and one's going to be judge votes. How do you want to do this?
Okay. I'm going to guess who America voted.
Okay.
And then you can tell me if it's right, or you can correct me if I'm wrong.
Okay.
So between Charlotte Summers, our very first blues singer who did not have a great performance, Chris Clafford, our Swede who did his own song and did not have a great performance, and Undlovu Youth Choir, who resoundingly should have been a easy top 5 anyhow. It's got to be Undlovu Youth Choir, right?
You are incorrect.
What? Okay.
Yeah. It was Chris Clafford.
All right. So those first dozen votes, they already had it figured out.
Yes. So the 50%, and this may be a trend we got to look at, Jay. From when they go to the Duncan save, those early voters, those absentees. We may need to look at that percentage and see if that's the trend of how things are going to turn out.
All right, we'll try and keep an eye on it.
Something a little track there. Okay, so then we go to the judges' votes. I'm just going to kind of go through these because it's a little tricky to kind of figure out.
Okay.
So we go to Gabrielle.
Sure.
And she gives us the youth choir.
Sure. Okay.
We go to Julianne.
Right.
She gives us Charlotte.
No.
Yes,
What?
yeah, I know.
Okay.
I know. Here we go. This is how it is, Jay. This is what we've dealt with on AGT time the last few years, okay? This
Okay.
exact situation.
Right.
Simon, youth choir.
Okay.
Okay. Howie doesn't want to be the one that sends someone home. Let's make it a tiebreaker. Let's put it on America's hands. Okay.
Okay.
So we're going to put Charlotte through, even though both acts are fantastic. I can't really decide. I'm going to make it a tie, so that America has to be the tiebreaker.
Okay.
Okay. So.
The idea of giving the vote to America is kind of what the show's based on, so I'm pretty okay with that.
Okay.
Except that this, part of the show is designed for drama, and like they put this in for a reason. Otherwise, why did we spend minutes having them jaw about which one they're going to put through?
Right.
So,
and if you remember the days back when there were 3 judges, well, we had an odd number, so this
Right.
worked out wonderfully.
right.
They bring in the 4th judge. Well, now we have an even number, so this craziness happens almost every week.
It happens a lot.
Yeah.
Okay, so 3 judges would have been better in this particular case because Undlovu Youth Choir would be going through and should be going through, but based on those very first few votes that we saw come in, I'm a little nervous. What do we know?
So America got it right. The youth choir is going through.
Okay, good.
Yeah. So now that vote is based on the initial voting. I don't think it's based on the Duncan Say voting.
Oh, okay.
So
okay.
I don't think I think it's based on, they were either 7 or 8.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, they could have technically been 6, and
Yeah, I'm sorry, 6 or 7. That's what I meant.
yeah, they were 6 or 7.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay.
So we have our 12 acts. I'm sorry, we have our 7 acts. 12 have performed. 7 are going through.
Okay.
Let's look at what we've got for next week.
What do we have for next week? Tell me what we got.
Okay, so we got another youth choir. The Detroit Youth Choir is back.
Okay.
We get Jackie Fabulous. I'm excited about this.
Okay.
I know you're not as big a fan of hers, but
That's fine. Okay.
Then we get Benicio Bryant.
Oh, Benny Bryant.
Yep.
Okay.
Matthew Richardson.
Remind me.
I think he's like a aerial artist, trapeze artist.
Oh, yeah.
Something
Okay.
of that nature.
Yep. He does the big ring. Yep.
Yes. Then we get McKenzie, and I'm not familiar with McKenzie. He might have been in Judge Cuts 4.
He was a singer. His backstory was that he loves his wife.
Okay.
It was pretty pedestrian.
Okay. And he was in Judge
backstory.
Cuts. He was at the end of Judge Cuts 3.
Yep.
Yeah, so I remember him. Dom Chambers.
Dom Chambers was the.
It's the magician, isn't it? It's the beer. Isn't that the beer guy?
Oh yeah, our Australian. Okay.
Yeah. Then we get Marcin, the guitar
guitarist.
player.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay.
He's one of the favorites as well.
He's wonderful.
Lucas and Falco.
Okay.
Barry Wham, who I love.
them.
I love them as well. Eric Chin.
The magician.
Yes. And Amane Bisha.
Imane, she's the opera singer, youth opera singer.
Yes,
okay.
that's correct. Yep. So that's our 12 for next week.
Okay, youth choir, Jackie Fabulous, Benicio Bryant, are Matthew Richardson, Mackenzie, Dom Chambers, Marcin, Lucas and Falco, Barry Wham, Eric Chen, and Imani. All right. Whew. This is a great lineup.
Yeah, this is a much better lineup than Quarterfinals 2.
Yeah, this is a great lineup. The ones that really jump out at me are Matthew Richardson, as I'm remembering him now. My apologies. It's the name. The name Matt Richardson just doesn't really, it's not like Benicio Bryant.
Right.
It's I'm really confident that I've met a Matt Richardson or 2 or 3 before. So, okay. Matthew Richardson, looking forward to seeing him. Marcin, love him. Barry Wham, one of my very favorite singing groups or music groups, I'd say. Eric Chen is really fun to watch. I like his stage presence. As far as others, Imani is she should make it through. Yeah. Those are the ones that jump out at me. Okay. So I'm excited to see the next episode.
Yeah, this is just this seems like a strong week.
It really does.
Yep.
Really does.
Yep. Well, that's all we got for quarterfinals 2, unless you got anything else you want to cover.
No. No, just want to make a note of the ones that didn't go through. It was Joseph Allen, Sentimentalists, Nick and Lindsay, and Marina Mazepa were the ones that were cut in this particular episode. So there were some rough ones there. Man, I'd rather have seen Marina Mazepa go through. I really liked her. But I get it. It's it's not for everybody, and really this kind of act is not for me. But she did well, so I'm really sorry to see her go. Otherwise, I'm pretty happy with how America voted.
Agreed. And the only thing I think they got it wrong on was the Tyler Butler Figueroa.
You'd have taken Joseph Allen over him?
If it was between the two of them, yes. Okay. I might have thrown Marina in there as well. And maybe for those two, it could have been. Well, it wouldn't have been close because, the Duncan stays are 6, 7, and 8.
Right.
So it's very possible Tyler was 5 and Joseph was 9.
Yeah, that would make sense.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, we've talked enough tonight, Cody.
I think this is our longest one we've done ever.
We're
hour and 40
pushing
minutes.
An hour. Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, let's. It's been a little while since we've kind of sat down and had a good conversation. So, we will. We'll circle back in another week's time. We've got another really exciting live episode ahead of us. We'll try not to go quite as long-winded as the Sentimentalist.
I was going to say I blame the Sentimentalist on this.
Right. If we cut the Sentimentalist down to normal length, our podcast would also be. So that's the hill that I'm going to die on. Fantastic. All right. Well, fun episode. Let's do it again in another week.
Yep. Sounds great, Jay. Have a good night.
Thanks, Cody. Bye.
Bye.